Welcome to the Doge Diaries, diving deep into government efficiency. So we're talking about Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and the Department of Government Efficiency, right? This whole Doge thing under Trump, it's a lot.
Yeah, huge. Manhattan Project of our time, Trump called it. Pretty ambitious. But dismantling bureaucracy, slashing regulations, sounds good in theory, but
Well, the GAO has something to say about that, right? Thousands of open recommendations, potentially billions in savings. They've been saying this for years.
right. And who knows if DOGE will actually implement them. It's easy to say cut wasteful spending, but actually doing it, different story. And Ramaswamy's 75% workforce reduction, radical.
A bit, yeah. Musk's involvement is interesting too, given his company's government contracts. Potential conflict of interest there.
Definitely a question mark. And the whole structure of DOGE is unclear. Department, commission, big difference.
Exactly. Is it about actual change or just recommendations? July 4th, 2026 is the deadline, so we'll see. Big promises, but the devil is in the details, as they say.
Totally. And with something this complex, the details matter a lot. We've got news.txt files popping up too, which is interesting.
Oh, what about them?
Well, they're usually for software release notes, tracking changes, bug fixes, that kind of thing. Like with Beautiful Soup, Source 2 mentions. Keeps track of the project's evolution.
So, are they saying Doge is treating government like a software project? Iterative updates, version control? Kind of makes sense, in a weird way.
Maybe, or maybe it's just unrelated. Source 1 mentions a URL example, so these files can vary widely. Could just be coincidental.
So these news.txt files, they're not all the same, huh? Like the Cassandra one is massive.
Yeah, makes sense. Big project, lots of updates, lots of lines in the news.txt file. It's like a detailed changelog, right?
I guess. But then you've got that example of someone using a news.txt file for like a website news feed. Totally different.
Completely. One's for internal development tracking, the other's for, well, news, public-facing stuff.
Right. So back to Doge. What does it even mean if they have news.txt files? Are they documenting their progress, their bug fixes, so to speak?
Maybe. Or it could just be standard practice for any project, even a government one. Remember Source 4? The company website with press releases? They're communicating updates, but not with a news.txt file.
True. It's all about how you communicate change. A news.txt file is just one way, and it can mean very different things depending on the context.
Exactly. So applying that to Doge, we still don't really know what it means. Could be significant, could be nothing. Just another piece of the puzzle.
So Musk and Ramaswamy leading Doge, it's like putting a Silicon Valley disruptor and another disruptor, I guess, in charge of fixing the government.
Yeah, fixing is a loaded word. Dismantling bureaucracy sounds great, but it's not always that simple.
Right? Like, where do you even start? And who decides what's bureaucracy and what's essential process?
Exactly. And slashing regulations? Some are definitely unnecessary, but others protect consumers, the environment, important things.
Totally. It's easy to say, cut wasteful spending, like their third point, but the devil is in the details, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The GAO has been pointing out wasteful spending for years, billions of dollars, potentially saved, but it's not easy to just poof, make it disappear.
Yeah, those GAO reports are dense, thousands of recommendations. How do you even prioritize?
Good question. And with Musk involved, you have to wonder about his companies and government contracts, right? Conflicts of interest?
For sure. And Ramaswamy talking about a 75% workforce reduction? That's bold.
Radical, even. I mean, where do all those people go? What about the institutional knowledge they have?
Exactly. It's like they're treating the government like a bloated software project. Just refactor it, they say. But it's people's lives, livelihoods.
Right? And what is DOGE exactly? A department, a commission? Makes a big difference.
Huge. Is it about making actual changes or just recommendations, like a giant consulting project?
We'll see. July 4th, 2026 is the deadline. Manhattan Project, Trump called it. Big promises, big expectations.
So Musk and Ramaswamy at the helm of Doge, it's like they're trying to apply Silicon Valley principles to government, right? Move fast and break things, but with the entire federal bureaucracy.
Yeah, but government isn't an app. You can't just iterate your way to better policy. And a 75% workforce reduction? That's insane.
Well, Ramaswamy claims he's found a way, some new interpretation of personnel laws. We'll see about that. But the idea of restructuring agencies, streamlining things, it's not a bad idea in principle.
In principle, no. But where do you even start? The GAO has like thousands of open recommendations, 5,200 to be exact.
And potentially billions in savings, right? Something like $106 to $208 billion. Huge.
Yeah, but if it were that easy, wouldn't it have been done already? These recommendations aren't new. They've been sitting there.
True. And there are more from the inspectors general, too. Another 14,000 recommendations.
So it's not just about coming up with new ideas, it's about actually implementing the existing ones. That seems to be the real challenge.
I guess that's where DOGE comes in, supposedly. But how do you prioritize 5,000 recommendations? Let alone 19,000 when you add in the IGs. It's overwhelming.
Exactly. And who decides which ones to implement? What's the criteria? Is it just about cost savings, or are there other factors?
Well, they're talking about eliminating redundancies, improving coordination between agencies. So it's about more than just money, I think.
Hopefully, because you can't just slash and burn your way to good government. You need expertise, institutional knowledge, which kind of goes against the whole 75% workforce reduction idea.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance. Efficiency versus effectiveness. Savings versus service. It's complicated.
Understatement of the century. We'll see what they actually accomplish by July 4th, 2026. The clock is ticking.
So Musk and Ramaswamy, huh? It's like a Silicon Valley takeover of government.
Yeah, takeover might be a bit strong, but it's definitely a different approach. And Musk's history with workforce reductions, well, that's a whole other can of worms.
Right? He's cut jobs at Twitter, Tesla. So what's to stop him from bringing that same mentality to DOGE?
Especially with Ramaswamy echoing those sentiments, talking about a 75% workforce reduction. That's a lot.
Massive. And then you've got the potential conflict of interest with Musk's companies, SpaceX and Tesla, being major government contractors. How do you separate that?
Exactly. Is he going to recommend cuts that benefit his own businesses? It's a valid question.
Totally. And what is DOGE anyway? A department? A commission? Big difference.
Huge. One actually implements changes, the other just makes recommendations. Which one is DOGE going to be? We don't really know.
And they've only got until July 4th, 2026. That's not a lot of time to overhaul the entire government.
Not at all, especially with all the complexities involved. The size of the government, the different agencies, the existing laws. It's a massive undertaking.
Yeah, it's like trying to turn a battleship on a dime. It's not going to happen overnight. And whether it'll even happen at all, well, that remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Lots of big promises, lots of ambitious goals, but we'll have to wait and see what actually comes of it. Thanks for joining us on the DOGE Diaries, everyone. We appreciate you tuning in.